Baseball family, today we're going to talk about how the Players Association has their fingers in the pie everywhere. Baseball is also going to have a combine for the first time in the history of ever. And then today we're going to talk about Seattle's Mount Rushmore right after this. 9+ Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together. Welcome back, baseball family, to yet another episode of the Baseball Together podcast. I am Brig, and as always, on my left is Brad the Man. Blackjack Brad, how are you?
Hi.
Yes! We are having so much fun today. We're very excited that you're here. We're going to dive right into it on a somber note, actually, which is totally out of character for where I'm at right now. But we lost another one of the greats. Hank Aaron passed away last week, and we're terribly sad about it. The circumstances surrounding his passing are maybe a little bit fuzzy. They're saying that he got the COVID vaccine, actually, and was, maybe part of that was complications due to the vaccine. Brad, did you hear anything about that?
I didn't hear about that. I did wonder about that, though. But on the other hand, I mean, he was he was 87 years old?
86, 87, yeah.
So when somebody's that old and they pass away, I just kind of chalk it up to old age, honestly. I don't look too much into any circumstances around it. It could have happened next week, could happen next year at that point, I feel like. So not taking anything away from it, because it is incredibly sad. I mean, Hank Aaron, we heard everybody talking this weekend about how he was just a class act guy. Everybody liked him. Anybody who came in contact with him liked him. And there couldn't have been a better guy, a nicer guy, to have been the all-time home run king for as long as he was. And then to have it taken away by Barry Bonds, of all people. So, yeah.
Woof.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have been heralding, his achievements and all of that with the home run ball, obviously, all weekend long, and I think that's great, and I think that for me though, that's the platform for the actual accomplishment,
right?
And that was to advance, kind of further the civil rights efforts in the South. You think about it, Hank Aaron beat the record. And then got a standing ovation, black man, in the Deep South, not 10 years after the civil rights movement sort of reached its culmination, as far as the history books read, anyway, and, in the 60s. So that, to me, and I was talking to some of my friends about it this weekend, and to me, that is the moment, right? It's like, it has very little to do with the home run, although that was the catalyst. But what happened in the wake of that was what drives me crazy. It just floors me. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it really is a big deal. Like you said, the role that he played in civil rights and baseball and everything. I mean, it's huge. It really is. It really was a big deal. Yeah. So, lost a good one.
Well, we're sad to have lost him, but I think he would say that the game has got to keep being played. So, the Players Association has rejected Major League Baseball's offer to incorporate a universal DH into this season, and rejected the expanded playoff. Brad. Yeah. Has the Players Association been in this much of a power position in this long? Like, how long has it been?
I mean, they've been the strongest union in sports, in North American sports, for a long, long time. And really what's behind this is the Players Association wants the universal DH. It provides more jobs. I mean, we talked about Marcell Ozuna and his ability to keep a job because of the DH in the NL last year. That's 15 more jobs for guys, right? So the Players Association wants that. What they don't want, for some reason, I can't figure this out, is they don't want expanded playoffs. I do understand the side that the players are not getting any more money because of playoffs. The players don't see any of that money unless they win, right?
Yeah, right. That's how it goes anyway, though.
Yeah. That's just the way playoff money works. That all goes to the owners. But I don't understand. The thing that I cannot figure out is, like, why wouldn't you want more meaningful games?
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
They're kind of standing in their own way of growing the game by not bringing in expanded playoffs. And, I understand that there's the argument that it gets watered down. That's fine. You can have that argument because it could. But it's more meaningful games longer. And I don't understand why the players wouldn't want that. And I don't know if that's the players on the whole, in the whole, like, saying, like, no, we don't want expanded playoffs, or if it's just Tony Clark saying, nope, we don't want that because we don't have to take it.
Yeah, that's what I think of. I think of what is the political move here, and why are we rejecting it? I'm gonna keep beating the collective bargaining agreement drum, but it just feels like more pieces on the board being moved around, and in this chess game that they've got going on leading up to this the end of the season. That's how it feels to me. Because I agree with you, more meaningful games makes a lot of sense to me, especially in the wake of such a wonky season. And with the need to revitalize the sport overall, I mean, why would you not want to at least do a couple years with a new playoff system that involves more people, more fans? It's special. And then I would argue that if you do it for 3 or 4 seasons, maybe 3 seasons, and then you pull it back after, obviously, you've expanded to new franchises, of course.
Yeah.
And then you pull it back, but you go back to a regular format, then it was special for those 3 seasons. You keep it special. That would be my argument to the watering it down people, and because they're right, but we got to find a way to revitalize as well. So how do we do both? I say 3 seasons with the expanded playoffs, then take it away, add a couple of teams, everything's juiced except for the balls, and we're good to go.
Yeah, I think you've hit it spot on. Hit the nail on the head there.
But that's why they rejected the DH that they want, is because it was probably a package deal. That's what
it was a package deal. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Is that the owners gave them universal DH, but they said, but this has to come with it, and that's when they were like, nope.
Yeah,
I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me, other than it possibly being a power play.
That's exactly right. Okay, so the Cactus League has formally asked to postpone the start of spring training, and they have a bunch of COVID concerns right meow. And
that's correct.
Brad, my question to you is, are those concerns founded?
Absolutely they are, yes. The situation here in Phoenix. Brig, I'm coming to you live from Phoenix. The situation here...
And to our anchor in the field.
No, it's not good. I mean, it's improving. You could say solid and improving. I don't know if that would necessarily be the case, but it is improving. And I think what it is the Cactus League is saying, look, we're headed in a good direction right now because over the last 14 days, cases have gone down because we've come down out of the Christmas and New Year's cases. So things are definitely improving now. And if they continue to improve into February, that's good news. And then they would continue to improve into March when we have games and tourists are coming to the games.
Right.
The issue that I think the Cactus League is seeing here at hand is things are headed in the right direction. But if we bring a bunch of people, a bunch of tourists from a bunch of different states, and we put them all in a petri dish, what's going to happen? Are things going to get really bad again? And that would make things really bad for not just the fans, but the players and also the community, because people are going to be out in the community as well.
Yeah, okay. My argument to that would be, but it's outside, and it's supposed to be warm in Phoenix.
Yeah, and, I know in March, it's about 80 degrees, and I don't know if that's warm enough necessarily to do what it needs to do for COVID. I know during, I guess last year, things didn't really start to get bad until June when it really heated up and everybody went inside. As long as people are outside, it's fine. But you've also got people, because I know the Peoria Sports Complex, there is like a bajillion, and I'm being like probably under-exaggerating that. There's like a bajillion restaurants in that area. And, people are going to go to a game and then go to the restaurants. And not all of them have outdoor seating.
Right.
So, I know you're going to run into problems with that. And it's not just being in the stadiums. Like I said, being in the community and overcrowding areas that are not typically that crowded.
Sure. Well, and not just that, but what are they bringing from elsewhere? What will they take back home with them? I understand all of that. But the great contradiction here is that the Grapefruit League has said nada. Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah, and I don't know.
So it's also warm,
I don't think
and it's
things are
also
as bad
outside.
in Florida. I don't think things are as bad in Florida as they were, 6 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Florida's kind of come down. So that might be part of it, is that they've gotten things more under control. But, I mean, in Arizona, we were getting like 13,000 cases a day there for like a week stretch.
Wow.
So it's got to come down. It's got to stay down, and I think that's really what it is. It's trying to get it down and getting it to stay down, rather than getting another spike for 3-4 months as a result of spring training.
Okay. So now this decision comes back to the Players Association. Tony Clark has to say yes or no,
which I think is interesting. Like, I'm starting to feel like he's really the one behind the scenes here. He's the executive director of the MLBPA, and I feel like he's the one who's really guiding all of this. Like, I've always been really hard on Rob Manfred because of his inability to negotiate.
Well, but that's not wrong.
It's not wrong, but I wonder, sometimes I feel like, so I'm going to get real nerdy on you here for a minute, Brig.
Ooh,
so
do it.
I finished
Can you
watching,
do it in your nerd voice, please?
No, take away from it. I'm not going to do it. It's not that kind of nerdy.
Dang it.
So I finished watching the Clone Wars series on Disney Plus.
Yes.
Excellent show. If you haven't watched it, you like Star Wars, go watch it. And the whole time you see that Emperor Palpatine, or Chancellor Palpatine at the time, is kind of pulling the strings behind everything, right? And then you've got Count Dooku, though, who's doing all the dirty work. And so I wonder if Tony Clark is really more like Chancellor Palpatine or Emperor Palpatine, Darth Sidious, whatever you want to call him, is all the same guy. If he's more like him, but then if Rob Manfred is more like Count Dooku, he's like the fall guy who's doing all the dirty work, being like, we're at the mercy of the MLBPA. It's what we have to do, and he's kind of taking the bullets from all sides. You know what I'm saying there? Tony Clark is really the one back there, like, tugging the strings, but we blame Rob Manfred because of his position.
Sure, I understand the analogy, but I don't think Rob Manfred's inept behavior and handling can be overlooked under any circumstances. First of all, whether or not there's other factors at play, which have yet to be seen, that's a different story, and it's completely plausible, 100%. Plus, like you said, this is the strongest sports union ever, and they really do run the show, and it's not a terrible thing. It's just not.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, and except for I feel like they're getting in their own way with what we talked about earlier.
Sure.
And, if they don't delay the start of spring training, things could get really bad for players too. You can do everything you can to keep them safe, but if they're not going to follow protocols, which we've seen that some guys just aren't willing to do, then they're not going to keep themselves safe. So you can only do so much.
Right. And then but then again, it would be on the Players Association to rein it in and hold the players accountable, which Rob Manfred kind of had to take the fall for last year, is what you're saying.
Right. Yeah, he did.
Because he blamed the teams.
He definitely did.
The teams took the heat, and then Manfred took the heat because of the teams. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that's a pretty interesting argument. I'm not going to disparage that one.
All right. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see it play out. That I'm going back to the collective bargaining agreement. I wonder if the MLBPA is thinking they're getting too powerful, and eventually they're going to fall. That eventually owners are just going to be like, no, we've had enough of this. We're not going to let you bully us anymore.
Right.
Which would make them Darth Vader. There we go. Full circle.
What?
You're welcome.
Now do their nerd voice.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. I just need it every once in a while. All right. Moving on. The Yankees the Yankees have traded Adam Ottavino in what came as a shocking surprise to me. I'm hurt. my feelings are hurt because if you take away really just the one game in Buffalo last season where the Blue Jays played the Yankees, then he had a pretty good season. He gave up six unanswered 6 runs, no outs, or whatever it was in that showing that one time. And I know that's abysmal.
Well, and that was a bad stretch for the Yankees anyway.
Yes.
Nobody was playing well during that time.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So I know it was bad. I got it. But I mean, he was. I don't know. I think he's great. I'm so mad that he's going to Boston. Like, of all the places, he could have gone to Seattle and it would have been fine. But he didn't.
And I would have been okay with that, too.
He could have gone to Pittsburgh. He could have gone anywhere. No, he's got to go to Boston.
Yeah.
And the deal is 3 years, $27 million is what's left. It's one last year of that deal. And the Yankees
so he's got $9 million coming this year.
Yeah, the Yankees gave the Red Sox a bunch of money, like $800,000, something like that, and Adam Ottavino, and another guy, just for a player to be named later.
Well, not just another guy, Brig. Frank German, who is the 25th guy on the Yankees prospect list.
I know. I didn't want to go there.
Who did the Yankees get back, Brig?
A player to be named later.
Maybe cash. Maybe they're getting their vending
cash.
machine stocked for a year. Maybe they're getting a 12-pack. I don't know. Maybe a fungo to go with it. Who's to say?
Little bit of Bulai. It's perfect. It's terrible. I don't understand. And I mean
that's an unreal deal. Like,
it's unreal.
No.
The salary. Okay, so the luxury tax is at $800 or $210 million, and this deal puts the Yankees at what, 203 or something like that. So I mean, there's some justification there for making room for a couple of the guys they brought in, including Kluber, and bring a DJ back, and all that's happy and wonderful. But I think the luxury tax has something to do with this. But anyway, that's just me.
Yeah, that was the first thought I had when I saw that. I was like, that is a cash dump if I have ever seen a cash dump in my life.
Yeah, but of all the guys, man, I mean, this... And you know what's interesting? I looked at the Red Sox response, and they said something like, yeah, you know. It was so nonchalant. They were like, it's not like 2013 when we're going for broke here. You know, the season between 13 and 14 when they're like, all or nothing, right? It's like, they didn't even say... They said that. They're like, it's not like that. It's not like that right now. We got other holes to fill.
But they've done a pretty good job this week. I mean, they got Kike Hernandez from the Dodgers, and he's not, he's not like an all-star or anything, but he's a good player. Especially during the playoffs, he's a really good player.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, and this Jackie Bradley Jr., they still got to figure out Jackie Bradley Jr.
They do, yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know, but I don't think they're going to be the dumpster fire that they were last year, though.
Right, maybe that's the whole goal, is to just stop the bleeding. I don't know.
Yeah, could be. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Last thing we got to talk about is that in an unprecedented move, Major League Baseball will be holding a tryout for all of the people who want to come and play baseball.
Well, not all of them. I mean, there's only going to be 88 prospects, and they're going to be by invite only based on scouting evaluations.
For sure. I'm teasing.
But still.
But yes, they're going to have we're going to pick
for anybody
teams.
who doesn't know.
We're going to pick teams. Anyway, they'll be it's going to be a combine. They're calling it a combine, much like the NFL's combine. It's over the course of what do we say? 7 days, 8 days, something like that.
June 20th through the 28th.
There it is. It's at the USA Baseball Training Complex in Cary, North Carolina. I might just drive up there and see it. And
there you go.
Yep, there'll be tournaments, medicals, educational programming for all of you PBS viewers out there, and performance testing. So NPR will be on the scene to provide, it is North Carolina. So
Well, no, I think it'll be good though. I think it'll be a good way for teams to actually get an up close and personal look at some of these guys, because you get guys who are drafted and there's no medicals on them. They have no knowledge of the state of a pitcher's elbow
Right.
or a catcher's knees.
Yes.
And those could be pretty big deals. Or an outfielder who has pitched some in college who has a bad elbow now.
Yeah.
So I think this could be something that's good for the long run of Major League Baseball, having in-depth medicals on guys. And, I think it's going to be a little more watchable than what the NFL Combine is. This coming from somebody who has watched the NFL Combine for many years.
Me too, yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be the underwear Olympics because you can't play baseball in your underwear. Like you can football apparently. And so it's going to be a little bit more normalized and a little bit more like watching. I mean, it'll probably be like watching spring training, I would imagine.
Yeah,
right?
I think it will be. But there'll be drills and individual, performances. I saw a really cool thing on a Instagram the other day. It was a drill I'd never seen before somehow, and the coach was doing fungo down the third baseline, and all of the players there, like a line of 6 players that were staggered back like 5 feet from one another and then zippered, in this diagonal.
Okay, yeah.
And then they'd all, dive for the ball. I thought it was pretty cool. So I expect to see something, stuff like that at a combine. That's what you would think, right?
So yeah, some interesting things that we maybe had never seen before, for those of us who didn't go to a high level,
Yeah, exactly.
Things that we've never seen, and that would be fun to watch, actually. And honestly, like, I've been wanting a skills competition besides just the home run derby.
Yes, we've been
or the
talking
All-Star
about
break.
that. Yes.
And so we're gonna get some version of that, and who knows, maybe some of that will bleed over into the All-Star break. We can only hope.
Now, hold on. You can't say we're going to get it because we haven't seen anything about televising this event, have we?
No, but I bet you it will be on MLB TV.
Okay, but
Well,
You
I don't. That's the middle of the season. I don't know if it will be.
see, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of competing priorities there, and this is why I'm confused, because how can they not give this to us? But then again, how could they do that? And I think if they don't give us access to this for free, they're fools. They've lost it.
They are, and they could put it on YouTube for free for everybody to watch.
Exactly. Do something.
You don't even need to put it on MLB TV. Put it on YouTube. You're not taking up any of your own bandwidth, any of your own broadcast time. Just put it on YouTube. If you want to watch it, you can. If not, it doesn't hurt anybody.
Do it live and then archive it and be done.
Yep.
Maybe get a couple of your AA announcers to call a couple of the sessions.
Yeah, there you go.
See,
Yeah.
now everybody's winning.
Or maybe they'll task out some B or C team ESPN broadcasters even.
There, see, perfect. That's exactly right.
I don't know.
I don't know. Pretty cool.
Why are we not in charge of this, Brig?
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. We
should be.
We should be.
I don't know. Anyway,
Call a guy. Who's the grand poobah over the PA, the Players Association?
oh, Tony Clark.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Get him. I mean, he sounds like he makes
I don't know
some deals.
I don't know if he would allow that with the way we've talked about him today, but we'll see.
Well, no, if he can't take his own criticism, then he doesn't deserve to be in charge.
That's a good point.
Sorry.
Anyway, well, let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to make a special announcement, and then we will get into the Mariners and their Mount Rushmore.
No matter which ballpark you're at, you want to rep your team. Now you can with 9+ Us. Welcome to the Big City Series. With every design available in your team's colors, you can fit in with the home crowd or stand out on the road. Either way, we have the colors you crave. Shop the Big City Series and find designs that rep your favorite baseball podcast, cheer from the cheap seats, and much more. Shop the Big City Series only at 9plusus.com.
Welcome back, baseball family. So I mentioned beforehand, teased a little bit, that we have a special announcement for you. We do actually, like for real, have a special announcement for you. We are going to do a giveaway. This is unlike any giveaway we have ever done before. So last week, we introduced our partnership with the energy drink Rays. I have mine right here. I am drinking a Voodoo once again because it is delicious, and I have a whole case of them, and I can't get enough of them. They're fantastic. Brig, what do you have tonight?
I've got the Apollo, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not drinking it because if I was,
It'd be up all night.
then what would happen? Well, that's what happened last time.
Yeah.
So I learned my lesson, but it's ready for the morning, and I have a bunch of these, and this one is just terrific.
Apollo
Holy
is
cow.
delicious. It's amazing. So what we're going to do is we want to give away a Rays sample pack. Let me tell you what comes in a Rays sample pack, Brig. You get 4 cans.
Okay, Brad.
4 cans of Rays Energy, 2 Rays on the Go samples, which are little on the go packets. You can put them in some water, and then you don't have to drink a whole can like I have right here. 4 Broken Arrow samples. Broken Arrow is their pre-workout, and I hear it's very good. I don't do pre-workout, but I hear it's very good if you do like that. And also 2 Hypersleep samples, and I have used the Hypersleep, and it knocked me flat out when I needed it to. It was excellent. So
Did it really?
So recap that. That's 4 cans of Rays Energy, 2 Rays on the Go samples, 4 Broken Arrow samples, and 2 Hypersleep samples. We're going to be giving it away. How do you enter? Great question.
Ooh.
We want everybody who wants to enter to send us a message in our mailbag. We say every week that we want questions, comments, concerns, and Snyder marks. I almost combined those two. You can send us whatever you want. It doesn't have to be baseball related. It can be about us. If you have a question about Brig and I, go ahead and send it our way. We'll answer it and give you a shout out on the podcast. Everybody who sends us a message via the mailbag before February 28th, let's say the cutoff is midnight Eastern time, February 28th, Sunday night.
That's good.
You'll be entered in our contest to win the Rays sample pack. So there you go.
It's a pretty great deal, Brad.
I think so. I think it's a pretty great deal as well. So that's a giveaway we're going to be doing. Go ahead and send us a whatever you want in the mailbag. I don't care. Send it our way, and we will enter you for that giveaway. Okay.
Now they can get into the mailbag at baseballtogether.com.
That's right.
Correct?
And there's also a link in the doobly-doo for every single episode. And you know what? If you really want to as well, let's throw this on there. You can leave us a voicemail. There's a link for the voicemail as well.
Yeah,
in the doobly-doo of every episode.
That'll be awesome.
You can leave us a voicemail or send us a message in the mailbag. Either way, whatever you want to do, however you want to enter, the choice is yours, but we'll put you in the contest to win a Rays sampler.
The choice is yours at Chuckarama.
All right.
This is not endorsed by Chuckarama.
No.
But let me tell you this. These energy drinks are so good. We are junkies for energy drinks, and these are the cleanest tasting energy drinks we have ever had. For whatever reason, they are so smooth. They don't snap. There's no bite. They're just really, really approachable, really easy to drink, and we love them.
That's right. It's true. You can hop on
So-
repsports.com and get those if you use the code BTPOD, like Baseball Together Pod. You will get 15% off. So there's that.
Boom!
for you.
And that's in addition to the giveaway we're running. Okay, be
That's right.
excited. All right.
All right, Brig.
I'm excited.
So we're gonna jump in here and do our Mount Rushmore for the Seattle Mariners. We started doing this. We did the Yankees because that's Brig's team, and then we decided to come west and do my team, the Seattle Mariners. So we're gonna do that today. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, Mount Rushmore has 4 presidential heads on it. So we are choosing 4 players who we believe would belong on a Mount Rushmore for the organization. Brig, why don't you go ahead and lead us off? Give us your first one.
That's so nice of you.
I'm in a giving
It's
mood.
your favorite team, and it's the softball that you're just going to lob in there.
Yeah.
So my number one choice is Ken Griffey Jr.
Mine too.
Super duh. Are you
Right?
serious? Yes.
Go
We
ahead,
should-
Brig.
Well, I mean, number 1 overall pick, 1988, drafted out of high school. He changed baseball. He transcended baseball, man, with the hat backward and everything like that. 11 seasons as a Mariner, 398 home runs, 1,063 runs, and 1,152 RBIs. Dude, this dude is off the chain.
Mm-hmm.
AL
Especially when he
MVP
was in
in
Seattle.
'97. What?
Especially when he was in Seattle.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. Whatever happened in Chicago, he wasn't even in the documentary.
That's true. That was like 2 weeks. It's like the last month of the season in Chicago. A lot of people forget about that. Number 17 with the White Sox.
Yeah, yeah.
Playing right field and DHing.
What do you think about it? Tell us your thoughts on the kid.
Well, so, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Transcended baseball, the iconic backwards hat, the most beautiful swing we have ever seen to date. I mean, I don't know of anybody who has that kind of swing. I mean, Cody Bellinger, you can see, kind of tries to mimic it a little bit. One time I noticed that his stance is very similar to Griffey's. He's changed it up since then. His swing is a little bit in that direction, but I think that might just be because he's a lefty. But I think you can see that there is some inspiration drawn there, which is obvious, with a kid who grew up in an MLB clubhouse. But, I mean, Griffey had influence over an entire generation of fans. The only other guy I can think of who had that kind of influence was Michael Jordan. And, they were contemporaries, playing in the '90s, early 2000s.
For sure.
They were contemporaries, and it was be like Mike, and, every kid playing baseball wanted to be like Griffey.
Yeah.
And, one thing that I don't know how well known this is about his influence on the game is that Griffey his approaching Bud Selig is the reason that they have Jackie Robinson Day where everybody wears number 42, and also the reason that Jackie Robinson's number is retired across Major League Baseball.
That's right.
Ken Griffey Jr. had that idea, brought it to Bud Selig, and it was executed. So, I mean,
that's right.
More than just on the field, I guess that's mostly on the field, but across the entire game, that he understood the importance of Jackie Robinson in his life and the league, and he felt like it was important enough that everybody should understand that. And I think it's great. When I heard that, I thought it was amazing. Just somebody who cares about way more things than just himself. Because it could have been easy for him to be selfish his entire career.
For sure.
And you can argue that there were times, but everybody's got to be selfish at some point. When he asked out of Seattle,
of course,
we saw in the junior documentaries because he was miserable. He wanted to be with his family, and I can't fault the guy for that, especially being a dad.
Yep.
But no, the impact that he had on my favorite team growing up. That I've spoken to people over the last few years. It's like, I don't know why. Honestly, if you didn't grow up in the Pacific Northwest, why anybody would be a Mariners fan? And the same answer I get every time is I grew up watching Griffey. It's like, there you go. So
there you go. And he played with his dad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And he all of the 10 All-Star teams. That's transcendent right there. That's how you become a fan of Griffey if you didn't grow up there. And anyway, Griffey just wins. He just is a winner.
Yep.
And he just wins all of the things that you can win. So
and a Gold Glove every single year he was in Seattle.
Exactly. He wins all the things you can win. It's a thing he does.
Yep, absolutely.
But he saved baseball in Seattle. I mean, we can't.
He did. To this day, now T-Mobile, but Safeco was called the house that Junior built because he led that team on that playoff run. Granted they lost to the Indians in '95 in 6 games, but because people were coming to watch Griffey that year, he missed some time with a broken wrist, but when he came back, he was just as electric as ever. He came back and people were coming to watch him play and watch the Mariners play in the playoffs, that it was like, okay, we need a new stadium because the Kingdome is not great.
One last thing on Griffey.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but is he not the first Mariner to be in the Hall of Fame?
He is. Yep.
One of only 2?
One of only 2. Are you going to go to the second one for your next one?
No.
Okay. That's fine.
No. Don't talk to me like you know me.
I'm not your coal mine supervisor. I apologize.
Brad, who is your number 2?
Funny you'd ask that right now, Brig. My number 2
is
Edgar Martinez.
No.
Yep, he is.
Oh man, I knew you were gonna say that.
He was the second Mariner to be elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame, and it took a long time.
Yeah.
It took a long time for him to get in because people were holding his defense against him, and to that I say, but also I say,
boo on you.
you cannot name the designated hitter of the year award after a guy and then not let him into the Hall of Fame. He was the greatest DH to play the game, by far. I mean, look at this here.
Yeah, of course.
So, Edgar Martinez, 312 lifetime average, 933 career OPS. I mean,
It's crazy.
hello. And then in 95,
Hello.
he had a career year in 95. Griffey missed some time, so he was bumped up a little bit in the batting order. Got a few more at bats. Came out batting, Brig, 356 with an OPS of 1.107. On base percentage, 479. And for a guy who hits for average and does not hit home runs, Brig, 29 home runs.
I know.
Finished third in the MVP voting.
To your point, 52 doubles that 95 season.
And you know what? The thing that's funny about that is that none of those stats include the important role that he had in the 95 ALDS against your New York Yankees.
Oh, my. Yeah, you're
There
right.
it is. Yeah,
because it was
he
supposed
had
to be a double.
It was a double, but also
should have been
he
a
had
double.
he had a grand slam in that series that brought the Mariners back from the brink in Game 4.
That's right. Yes.
They should have lost that game. Instead, Edgar Martinez hits a grand slam to straightaway center field. Busts out the rye bread and the mustard, Grandma. That's right. So, I mean, aside from those, though, I mean, he was, after Griffey left Seattle, he was the cornerstone of the franchise. Him and Ichiro were the cornerstone of the franchise. And, I mean, I think his leadership was a big reason that team won 116 games in 2001. And whether he was a vocal guy in the clubhouse, I don't know. You know, I was only 15 years old at the time.
Sure.
So I wasn't really paying attention to that stuff. But it felt like it was Edgar's team, and he was leading that team to every single win. You know, Brett Boone was doing the bat flips. Jay Buhner was hitting home runs. But Edgar Martinez was the guy who was pushing that team along. So, I don't know. I mean, that's just the way I saw it. That's the way I saw Edgar really the entire time he was in Seattle. You know, one of the big knocks on him is that he was a defensive liability. He didn't play much defense. He played a little bit at third base, but then he hurt his knee, couldn't play defense anymore. I don't know what the Mariners would have done if they'd ever made it to the World Series, because that would have been trouble. Wouldn't have won any games on the road probably because he didn't have his bat, except for in a pinch hitting situation. And he's also a guy, as my dad always said, he ran like he's mad at the ground. Which I thought was really funny and also very true.
Yeah, that's right. Well, he spent 18 years in Seattle. 18.
Yeah.
That's plenty of opportunity to get an opinion.
Yeah, he spent his whole career in Seattle. He was a guy who,
exactly.
I watched him from the beginning of my watching baseball until he retired in 2004 when I graduated high school. And, at that point, I was just like, gosh, I don't know what to do, you know?
Yeah. Right.
Anyway, what do you have to say about Edgar Brigg? Because I'm assuming you have him on your list.
I do. He just wasn't number 2, Brad.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll forgive you.
No,
for that.
I've said, I mean, everything you said I was going to say, and then I added the 18 seasons in Seattle, and yeah, I think it's just crazy to me that this guy is as good as he is and is as underrated as he is, and you say he's the greatest DH to ever play the game, and I think there's a really good argument for that. But other people know David Ortiz better, and I can't figure out why. It's got to have something to do with being in Seattle.
And I think the David Ortiz thing is the postseason.
Right. Well, and exactly. There's a great argument for that.
Even though
Right.
he did perform when he did get the chance, but he didn't get the chance on the big stage like Poppy did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. I know. But that's what I'm saying. That's like there's your. But you come up with seriously if you say list 5, top 3 best DHs of all time, you have to have Edgar Martinez in there.
You have to. Absolutely.
You have to, no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be a fool not to. So he's my number 3, and
Okay.
I refuse to
forgive you
move
for
him. I refuse to move him down to number 2.
That's fine. Hey, let's take a quick break. When we get back, let's talk about your number 2, Brig.
Okay.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back with me. Root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Shop kids' baseball shirts at 9pluss.com.
Welcome back, baseball family. Now, during the break, Brad and I had a little bit of an exchange happening. It's very exciting. I said, rather boldly, that I believe I know who his number 3 and number 4 picks will be. I also told him that I think his number 3 and my number 2, which has yet to be revealed, are the same. But that our number 4s are going to be different. So in an effort to preserve the integrity of our little experiment, I told Brad, I said, look, I'm going to send you a text message with my guesses, because he's like, prove it. And I'm like, no, I can't. He said, well, then you'll cheat. And I said, well, so I texted him. It's got a timestamp on it. He's not looking at his phone. We're very excited to bring you this.
Yes, very excited.
More for us than anything else. So we'll see what happens. But okay, my number 2, since we've gone out of order, my number 2 pick for the Seattle Mariners Mount Rushmore is Ichiro Suzuki.
Okay, that is my number 3.
Yes! Yes! Whoa, yeah. I'm halfway there, baby. Halfway. Okay. Whew. Okay, so now Suzuki. Okay, let's context here. When a player comes from Japan, it's not always a done deal. You could have a terrific career in Japan and be lights out, just be automatic, and then you come to Major League Baseball and the wheels fall off. Right? There are very few players that pull it off successfully, but there is only one player that's done it the way Suzuki has. It's just insane. So he was with Seattle from 2001 to 2012, short break. Well, I mean, 6 years is not short. And then 2018, 2019 came back, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to call it. I mean, he played 15 games in 2018, and then he played 2 games in that Japan series in 2019. So basically, he came back ceremoniously during that time.
Sure. But we got a good 10 years out of him for Seattle.
Yes. Yeah.
He's the all-time leader in hits with 2542 for the Mariners. 438 stolen bases also leads that category, and he has the highest career batting average, 321, across the entire franchise history. Now, the team was inaugurated in, 1977?
Yeah.
That was their initial season? So, that's not a tremendous amount of history to top, but it is nothing. It's nothing to shake a stick at a 321 career leading the franchise with at least 10 years. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we did see that there was that stat that came across on the 9plus VIP group, and I think it was an MLB graphic. But anyway, it said something like Ichiro doubled up the middle, or singled up the middle in his 21st at bat of his major league career, and never fell below 300 again. for his lifetime average.
Right.
And, it's pretty good. He got off to a pretty good start because he hit 350 that first season as a rookie. Was the obvious rookie of the year. Happened to win MVP. Happened to win MVP as well that year. And that was 2001. That was that season that I talked about when I felt like Edgar Martinez was leading the team. Ichiro was just this phenom, came out of nowhere. I specifically remember his very first at bat with the Mariners, and it was like he hit like a little dribbler to third base, I think, and he beat it out.
Right.
And we were just like, I think it was just my mom and I were watching the game. We looked at each other, we're like, who's this guy? What is this? And then it wasn't too long until there's that throw from right field to David Bell that was an absolute strike. Not just a strike, but a laser beam. They're just like, he can throw too? What is this? But yeah, first impressions of Ichiro were very big in my house because we hadn't really heard anything about him besides he's going to be great.
Right. A lot of promises that are often broken promises, empty promises.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's like you talked about. Guys come over from Japan and sometimes, and maybe they're good, not great, or they just flat out don't pan out at all.
Yeah.
We've seen Shohei Ohtani, who's been very good for the Angels when he plays, but health has been an issue.
Right.
He's on his second round of Tommy John surgery already.
Yeah.
And who knows how much longer he's going to be able to play. He's probably not going to be able to pitch, which is part of the reason they wanted him. But, Ichiro was everything anybody ever thought he would be and more, coming to the league at 27. So,
yeah,
it was absolute dynamite. Unreal.
Well, and
experience watching Ichiro, especially that first year.
So then in 2004, when he broke the single-season record for hits with 262, that record stood until he broke it in 04 from 1920.
It's a long time.
It's a long time, man.
And, this is one thing, too, about Ichiro that a lot of people kind of argue against is his slugging percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So he never had a slugging percentage, above 457. He was 457 his rookie season, and he never got above that again and rarely got over 400. A lot of people call him a slap hitter because he was just slapping the ball and getting on base. But you and I have talked about the value of getting a guy on base, and we saw that with the Mariners, especially in that 01 season. There were guys who, could hit home runs. You had Brett Boone batting right behind Ichiro that season, who was may or may not have been juicing. I don't know. I'm not going to say either way. But batting right behind him. But he sure hit a whole lot of home runs that season, regardless of the situation.
Yep.
And Ichiro was on base for a lot of them. So that turns a solo home run into a 2-run home run at least.
Exactly, and that's the whole point. Well, no, let's not forget he took home 10 straight Gold Glove awards from 01 to 2010. That's hot.
Yeah, it is. And, they had the fan area out there in right field. They called it Area 51, which I thought was pretty cool. And, I actually read at one point, I think it was his rookie season, where he said the reason that he chose number 51. Do you know what that was?
No.
He was a big Bernie Williams fan.
Get out.
That's what I read that rookie season. I don't know how much truth there is to it, but that's something that I saw.
That's fantastic. Even if it's not true,
that was
it's fantastic.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thought it was great.
Cool.
But,
all right, Brad, let's see if I'm right.
Anyway.
Who's your number 4? Oh, man, I'm so excited.
My number 4 is the big unit.
I was wrong.
You said King Felix.
I thought you were going to go with King Felix.
Real quick, let me tell you why I didn't choose King Felix.
Okay.
And it was strictly because he never pitched in a playoff game, which I know was not his fault. He was a Cy Young Award winner. But the fact that he was not able to get there, and like I said, it's a pitcher, not his fault, but but I feel like you've got to have that on your resume. And Randy Johnson actually was the reason at one point the Mariners got into the playoffs, because they had to play a one-game playoff in '95 against the, at the time, California Angels.
Mm-hmm.
And he came in and closed that game out. Struck out, I believe it was Tim Salmon to win the game.
I'm shocked.
So, at what? Oh, that is Randy Johnson instead of King Felix?
Yes.
And see, for me, Randy Johnson has like just such a special place in my heart. I feel like you can't leave him off because, like I said, the role that he played on that team in those playoff runs. Like, he was a 20-game winner in '97 when the Mariners made the playoffs again. He was an All-Star that season. He was also an All-Star 93, 94, 95. He won the Cy Young Award in 95. And, like, he didn't strike fear, or King Felix did not strike the fear into batters that Randy Johnson did.
Hey, now that's the 100% true. You can't argue with that.
Because I feel like with King Felix, it was like a nervousness of what's going to come, but you still can't hit it.
Yeah.
But with Randy Johnson, it was like, this guy might have a screw loose, and I don't know where the ball's going to come.
Yeah.
And he probably doesn't know where it's going to come.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to be a 103-mile-an-hour fastball or if it's going to be a 90-mile-an-hour slider.
Yep.
So, like, there was like a physical fear put into batters that very few other pitchers have had over the course of a lifetime.
He threw his first no-no in 1990, Cy Young Award winner 95, and 4,875 strikeouts. That's a strikeout per nine of 10.61.
Yeah, he also had 1,497 walks, which I feel like is pretty good for a guy with those kind of control issues.
And at, just shy at 7 feet tall.
Yeah. That was one thing that I always thought was funny, that yes, the ball is coming out of his hand at 100 plus because he's stepping halfway to the plate, and he had a unique motion. A lot of guys have their arm at 90 degrees when they throw, but he had that 3/4
that
arm
cock
slot
weird.
Where he was, it was like a sling coming out of there. Where, especially since his arm was so long for a left-handed batter, the ball is starting 4 feet behind you and then having to swing back across the plate.
Yep.
Everything feels like it's coming at you at that point.
Yep.
Yeah,
his arm was as long as his mustaches at that point.
Yes. And his mullet.
Oh,
yes.
Man, that mullet was something else. I'll tell you what. It's like, he's just too big for NASCAR.
This is the one.
He just wouldn't fit in one of them stock cars. That's the only difference.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the one problem I have with Randy Johnson, is that he went into, and I don't blame him for this, he went into the Hall of Fame as a Diamondback, as an Arizona Diamondback. And, he had good years in Arizona. He won a World Series with the Diamondbacks, so I totally get that.
Yeah.
It's just, I always wished that he had gone in as a Mariner just because he was so dominant in those years. But, I could see it because he was 5-time All-Star with the Diamondbacks. Last time was when he was 40. So,
yeah,
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But it's fine. He's the fourth guy on my Mount Rushmore.
That's pretty good, man. I can't argue with you. As far as not picking King Felix, what I can do is tell you that you've left out arguably the most important personality in the entire franchise off your Mount Rushmore.
Oh,
that's a bold statement. And
that is a bold statement.
I'm going to kind of break the mold a little bit. And as I do so, I'll ask you to break out the salami and the mustard, Grandma. Because I'm putting Dave Niehaus as my number 4 on Mount Rushmore for Seattle.
I cannot believe I didn't say Dave Niehaus.
Because
I was going strictly players.
I know, but you can't.
Because Dave Niehaus absolutely belongs to be on there more than the big unit does.
There's no
100%.
There's no Seattle baseball without Dave Niehaus. It just doesn't happen.
Well, I mean, it's carried on.
But
not without the statue in center field.
That's right.
How about that?
I'm just telling you, man.
Yeah.
So
no, that is an absolute valid point.
He started his career calling games for the California Angels, but if I got that right, California Angels. I believe that's actually true.
I'm
But the point is, he was broadcasting in Seattle from 1977 to 2010. And that was the team's inaugural season, 1977, and he was with them all the way until 2010 when he passed away. I just think that as far as names go, you got to have, Dave Niehaus got to be on that Mount Rushmore.
Definitely. Absolutely. And it's, I mean, if nothing else, I shouldn't say nobody. There are a few people who have as iconic of a call as Dave Niehaus.
Very few.
Because the Grand Salami made it into Ken Griffey Jr.'s Winning Run. The video game, basically like the sequel to Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball. Ken Griffey Jr.'s Winning Run came out a year, I believe, after, I think it was 96. So it was right after the 95 ALDS, once again. And anytime anybody hit a grand slam, it wouldn't go through the whole thing, but it would just say Grand Salami.
Nice.
Which was an obvious tribute to Dave Niehaus.
Absolutely. Well, and what I love about Dave Niehaus's calls is if you go back and watch, you get the radio guy enthusiasm with a TV guy presentation, right? Like he's broadcasting on TV, but he's also giving you like all of the juice, all of the excitement. He is invested. He's in it to win it. So it felt like your super duper knowledgeable uncle was screaming along with you on the third baseline, right? Like,
it's true, and like I have a cassette tape from the 95 season. I know I've talked about it a lot this whole episode, but that's like when I became a hardcore big league baseball fan.
Yep.
Was during that season. Yep. And all along they have the Dave Niehaus call, with the video. And it's always just like it goes like 3 octaves above and you can tell, like me being an audio guy, you can tell that everything is peaking because you can hear it cut down as soon as the ball is hit, because it's almost like he sits way back here and makes the call,
Yeah.
Because he's screaming so loud. And it's when somebody hits the ball, it's when somebody makes a great play. When Griffey crashed into the wall and broke his wrist, it was like, red peaks for days, and then he was able to chop it down and be somber because he's like, oh no, Junior's hurt. And so it's not just that he had his signature call, but he was incredibly good at what he did. He did a great job of feeding off the energy of the game and conveying that through the broadcast.
I agree, man. Iconic.
Absolutely. For sure. Love it. But anybody who hasn't been to T-Mobile or Safeco Field, there, like I said before, there's a statue out in center field of Dave Niehaus where he's sitting at the broadcast desk, and you can sit down next to him and get your picture taken. It's cool. I think I'll see if I can dig out that. I have a couple pictures of myself with it. I'll dig those out and put them on YouTube. You can see them.
Nice. So, well, and they've got do they still have the thing
cool.
On the outfield wall that just says Dave with the mic and it says "My oh my"? Is that still out in like right center?
I believe
center field,
so.
Or wherever it is.
Yeah, I believe they do. So there's out in the outfield they have Edgar's Cantina. Obviously Edgar Martinez, Edgar's Cantina. But they also have Dave Niehaus Way out there. Is like the street.
Yeah.
There's Dave Niehaus Way and there's Edgar Martinez Way. And so there used to be, I don't know if they still have it, but there used to be a Mariners podcast called At the Corner of Edgar and Dave, or maybe it was their newsletter or something like that. I don't remember.
Cool.
But yeah, they called it At the Corner of Edgar and Dave. Thought it was pretty sweet.
That's pretty sweet. So, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Cool.
But let's go ahead and get out of here, Brig. But actually, before we do, baseball family, send us your Seattle Mariners Mount Rushmore. I know it's not a team that a lot of you have ever really paid a whole lot of attention to, probably, or cheered for, but let us know if we got it right or wrong, because, I mean, should the big unit be on there? Should Dave Niehaus be on there in place? Maybe you had Alex Rodriguez on there. I don't know, despite everything. Whatever. There's
some argument there.
Send us a message in the mailbag and enter for our giveaway.
Don't forget to jump on the shop as well at 9plusus.com. It's NINEPLUSUS.com. 9plusus.com. That's where you can pick up all the swag that we're wearing on the show. And and don't forget to jump into our private Facebook group. That's where we drop discount codes and things like that all the time. And I think, you know what, next week, Brad, let's drop a discount code here. Will you help me remember that?
Yeah, let's do it. I'll put a note down.
Just for our baseball family listeners. And, maybe it'll be gangbusters good. I don't know. Send us a thing in the mailbag and tell us how much we should try and discount things. So maybe we'll go crazy.
There you go.
While you're in there asking for free stuff in the mailbag, you might as well also ask for or send us a snide remark or a question or a concern and jump in there. And don't forget about our Raise Energy sample pack giveaway. For sure.
You're going to love
they're
it.
So good.
We know it. That's right. And don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. You can rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts. That's like the best place to do that because I know for sure they allow that. But let us know what you think there. If you don't like something, let us know either in the mailbag or whatever because we're always looking to improve. We're here for you, baseball family. And with that, we will catch you next week.